Hello everyone and welcome back to LPRs Delivery. We'll continue this aircraft technical problems series today with topics about communications, autopilot, and electrical systems. Let's get started with communications.
Bangkok Air 237. We believe our mic switch was stuck on. Confirm your last instruction to us.
Japan Air 647. We believe our mic switch was stuck on. Confirm your last instructions to us.
The word here was stuck on. So first of all, the word stuck means something like this, when you cannot move. So here the puppy is stuck. Also, you might say an aircraft is stuck if the wheel or the landing gear cannot move. So if the mic switch in a cockpit is stuck on, that means that the mic is transmitting constantly. Therefore, the pilot would not be able to hear.
Bangkok Air 237. We're getting a lot of bleed over from another frequency. Do you have another channel we can use?
Speedbird 742, we're getting a lot of bleed over from another frequency. Do you have another channel we can use?
So the word here is bleed over. First of all, the word bleed means this. It's a verb. Here, this person's finger is bleeding, which means is losing blood. Likewise, we have this as well. What happens if you wash bright red socks with white socks? Well, if you put them into the wash together, then the red socks will bleed on the white socks, or the color will bleed. So likewise, when there are lots of radio communications going on, some frequency might bleed over to another one, which, as you know, is the same as interference.
Speedbird 742, we're picking up some malicious interference on this frequency. We'll make a report after landing.
Japan Air 647. We are picking up some malicious interference on this frequency. We'll make a report after landing.
The word here is malicious, which malicious means having or showing hatred and a desire to harm somebody or hurt their feelings. Similar to spiteful. Like malicious gossip would be gossip that's trying to harm someone. Or malicious lies, lies that intentionally try to hurt someone. So like this, these people are obviously look malicious. So sometimes malicious interference would be interference that's done on purpose. Maybe someone making a joke or something like that.
Bangkok Air 237. The aircraft you're calling is not able to hear you. Would you like us to do a relay for you?
Speedbird 742, the aircraft you're calling is not able to hear you. Would you like us to do a relay for you?
The word here is relay, which means to pass something from one person to another. This is a famous type of race, a running race called a relay, where you pass the thing from one person to the next person. Likewise, we can have communication relays. If ground control cannot reach another aircraft, then maybe a second aircraft might relay the message, which means pass the message to the next person. Next, we'll talk about autopilot. Here's a quick fact for you. Did you know that pilots often refer to the autopilot as George, which comes from an old advertisement that said, "Sit back and let George do the driving," meaning autopilot.
Japan Air 647. We can only fly a Cat 1 ILS due to autopilot degradation.
Bangkok Air 237. We can only fly a Cat 1 ILS due to autopilot degradation.
The word here is degradation, which is a specialist term which means the process of something being damaged or made worse. So for example, environmental degradation might be caused by pollution or by climate change. It's when the environment gets worse. So autopilot degradation is when the autopilot system is being damaged or getting worse. Quick note about the word here. The verb is degrade, which means to get worse, and the noun degradation. For pronunciation, keep in mind here, degrade and degradation. So the stress changes for these words.
Japan A647. Some of our autopilot modes are not working. Can you arrange for engineering support to meet us at the gate?
Speedbird 742. Some of our autopilot modes are not working. Can you arrange for engineering support to meet us at the gate?
The word here is modes. Modes mean the way in which a piece of equipment is set to perform a particular task. So, for example, switch the camera into the automatic mode. So when we talk about cameras, cameras have many modes. We have the automatic mode. We have the special scene mode. We have the video mode. So there are different types of operation modes. Likewise, in the cockpit, the pilot can switch to different types of autopilot modes, in which the autopilot does different automated tasks. Lastly, we'll look at electrical systems.
Bangkok Air 237. Our generator drives has malfunctioned. We have disconnected it. We need to descend to allow us to start our APU.
Japan Air 647. Our generator drive has malfunctioned. We have disconnected it. We need to descend to allow us to start our APU.
The word here is generator drive. The generator drive is essentially the component that's attached to the engine which creates electricity from the power generated by the engine. In modern aircraft, it's often referred to as the IDG, or Integrated Drive Generator. Quick fact about this word, the verb is generate. The thing that does it is the generator, and the idea is generation. Notice all of these words have the same beginning, which come from the Latin word genero, which means to beget, procreate, or produce. So anytime you see generate, generation, etc., this means creating something new, to generate.
Japan A647. Both electrical generators have failed. We need to descend quickly to below flight level 250 to prevent engine flame out and to attempt to start our APU.
Bangkok Air 237. Both electrical generators have failed. We need to descend quickly to below flight level 250 to prevent engine flame out and to attempt to start our APU.
The word here is flame out, which essentially means shutting off. So when the combustion chamber or the fire in the combustion chamber stops, and therefore the engine stops. A famous example would be this one, which happened in Taiwan, that one of the engines had experienced a flame out, and the pilot made a mistake and shut down the wrong engine, which caused a terrible crash. While we're talking about flames, let's look at this real quick. The vocabulary difference between fire and flame. Fire can be countable or uncountable. In this case, we can see one fire, right? So this is one instance of some things burning. But if we talk about flame, we see many flames, right? one flame, another big flame, a flame here, and flame here. So usually one fire is made up of many flames. Likewise, let's look at this picture. We can say that the firefighters are trying to extinguish the fire. Likewise, we can say trying to extinguish the flames. Right? There's more than one flame, but we would probably say only one fire. Now, likewise, extinguish can also mean put out. So this phrasal verb means extinguish, trying to put out the fire or trying to put out the flames.
Japan Air 647. We are on standby power only. We only have standby instruments and no autopilot or RNAV. We need to avoid icing conditions and land as soon as possible. Our battery will be flat in 1 hour and then we'll lose our cockpit and aircraft lighting.
So the word here is flat, which is describing battery. Now, usually when we talk about flat, it might mean this. Right? Some people believe the world is flat. Or sometimes we talk about a tire. An aircraft tire might be flat if it has no air. However, in terms of electricity, if we describe a flat battery, it means a battery that does not have enough power to start a vehicle or provide lighting. Now, also when we talk about batteries, especially about phones, we might also use the word dead. Right? So you might say, my battery is dead, if you're talking about phones. But usually when we're talking about vehicle batteries, we'll say a flat battery. And that's it for today's edition of LPR's Delivery. And see you next time. Kapun kap, swadee kap.